Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, said the Senate should consider removing Senators Josh Hawley, Republican of Montana, and Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, via the 14th Amendment over their objections last week to the Electoral College results. Speaking to PBS's Firing Line on Friday night, Manchin said the Senate should explore the option after a violent mob, riled up by President Trump and convinced by Republicans such as Hawley and Cruz that the election was fraudulent, ransacked the Capitol, one of the darkest points in American democracy. That should be a consideration, Manchin responded when asked if the 14th Amendment should be triggered. He understands that Ted's a very bright individual, and I get along fine with Ted, but what he did was totally outside of the realm of our responsibilities or our privileges. The third section of the 14th Amendment reads that no lawmaker holding office shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Critics of Hawley and Cruz, who led the effort in the Senate to object to the presidential election results in Arizona and Pennsylvania, said the amendment applies to the two senators, whom they blame for inciting the riot with their rhetoric echoing concerns of election fraud and irregularities. Last week's mayhem resulted in the death of 5 people, including a Capitol Hill police officer and a rioter. We already know about this. So, listen, people calling for someone else to resign in politics is just a common thing. Trump's resignation has been called for by pretty much every Democrat that voted for his impeachment. I could probably go through all the governors of the bigger states in the U.S., whether that's California, my state, New York, Texas, and their statewide officials have had some prominent person call for the resignation. So the reason this story is significant is because Manchin is known to be someone who almost at every turn is diametrically opposed to what progressive politicians like AOC or Tlaib or Omar would want. And knowing that he's considering backing this or that this is something he's leaving within the realm of possibility really shows you that Cruz and Hawley screwed themselves over by getting caught up in this election was rigged BS that Trump's been peddling ever since November 7th. And it's really unfortunate because you can almost see in Cruz and Hawley these two people that desperately want to appeal to Trump supporters for their 2024 presidential bids. And instead of just doing this grandstand nonsense for one day, which was when they were ratifying the results, now they're facing a bunch of their colleagues in a larger number than ever before, demanding they be held accountable for their participation in this. And that's why a lot of times political points just are not what they're cracked up to be. Sometimes when you're a politician and you're trying to jockey for whatever the next position is, you make a mistake. And Cruz and Hawley, especially Cruz, because he's been around for the entire Trump presidency, have both really carved out these paths of being just staunch Trump allies, like yes men for him. So because they're so desperate to play follow the leader and they really wanted these people to like them, it's backfired, and now they are the poster children for politicians that could likely get punished over their role in this. And again, I'm saying that as someone who really couldn't care one way or the other, and doesn't believe that Cruz and Hawley are going to be out. Because the Senate, has a bunch of Republicans, and you have Democrats like Manchin and Sinema who will vote for them to stay in office. I think Manchin is teasing it, and this looks like something people would be happy about. But if the 2K stimulus checks were anything to go off of, he is not your friend on anything.